This whole thing with Balogun, the player that was red carded and he's out, and then the president calls and he suggests that you review it.
Yeah, most everyone said that was not a violent foul, and he should not be kicked out of the next game. And they questioned that referee. Supposedly he's got a past of making some calls that weren't supposed to call. So I don't know what'll happen, but he's scheduled to play tonight. That's for sure.
Another Duly Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, welcome in to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging and coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We have a great show for you today. Coach Spurrier will be in. We look forward to having him in. And then Zach Abelverde will be doing Yes, Nowhere. Maybe Robbie is at some party fest up in Regatta thing in West Virginia, and he's having a good time, and he deserves a day off and a weekend off, as most people had a weekend off. And I hope everybody had a great 4th of July. I think everybody's pretty much understood why we were having this, and saw millions of different stories and things about Independence Day. Certainly an important day in this history. And so I hope you had a good time. And also, happy birthday to John Summerall. His birthday was yesterday. I think I got everything. And by the way, I just reiterate, no show Thursday, no show Monday. I'll be out of town. And then the following Thursday, Tay Dupay is set to join us. So that'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's get to our money medals. Starting 5. MoneyMedals.com is your home for gold and silver purchases, one of the largest distributors in all the United States. 2 Gator grads are running it, and you can reach them at 1-800-800-1865 or at MoneyMedals.com. Okay, well, obviously, the lead story right now all over the world is what happened with the young player from the United States, Folarin Balogun. I can never say his name right. Balogun? Yeah. Balogun. Begin again. Anyway, obviously he was going to be out for this game. The president made a phone call. The FIFA people said, "Oh yeah, whatever you want, coach. We'll give you his player back." And there's been some great jokes about it. But obviously the rest of the world is ticked off. Like everybody was mad at Mexico for so long because they have, apparently it's just been like a third world country over there for this thing, throwing things, cussing at people, feces, everything, everywhere. Hey, look, I'm not there. I'm not going to say anything about it. But obviously it turned to being anti-America. And the funny thing is, this was a World Cup that really had made a lot of people realize how great we have it over here, because all these people were coming over, to watch the World Cup, and they were in packed stadiums, and they were like, "We thought America was messed up. You guys you got it made, man. You've got ranch dressing, you've got air conditioner, you have this thing called ice. You can drink in the stadium. This is pretty cool." And now everybody's turned to get back against us. So, well, it is what it is. And the thing is, I've thought about this long and hard. If Jeremy Foley went to bat for one of his players or one of his coaches, or if he didn't go to bat for him, we would say, "Jeremy, you got to step in on this." So, look, I didn't want it to all be political about this whole deal, but it's going to be, and I just don't. It's a distraction from the game. I was kind of getting nervous thinking about the game. Now I'm just going to kind of watch it. I'm not going to root against America, okay? Not in anything. I'm not going to root against them against Iran in a war. I'm not going to, I'm rooting for the United States and everything. It's just a shame that it has to become a big deal. There were some great jokes. I thought one of them was that the Texas Tech is asking FIFA if Brendan Sorsby will now be eligible. And there's been a couple like that. People are just having fun with it. And look, let's just watch the soccer and try to enjoy it. It is what it is. and I will say this, FIFA is the most corrupt organization in the world. And everybody knows that. Everybody's been saying that for 100 years, and it's never going to change. But if you got a rule, stick with the rule. I would rather have won without him. That would even make a cool thing, but they may not be able to win without him. So let's just watch the soccer, okay? Watch soccer, Pat. By the way, Belgium is lawyering up, from what I've been told, and we'll see if something comes of that. But look, it's up to the guy. I don't even know his name. Who is the head of FIFA? Is it? I can't remember his name. I used to know it, but
Gianni Infantino.
Okay, Gianni Infantino. Jalindi Infante. That was Lindy Infante. Yes, his name was Galindo. I saw that in the thing once. He said, "Don't call me Galindo." Anyway, he's up for re-election next year too. So I mean, this may be a stain on his reputation. Who knows? Just watch the soccer. All right, let's get to number 2 on our Money Medal starting 5, and let's talk some Gator football. Something I wrote about for my Patreon column, which is up now, the back 9. I write the front 9 for Main Street Daily News. Most of you know that. And that's up as well. So what I wrote about, though, was how important it is for Florida to finish strong. I looked at one site, I think it was on 3, and they had Florida is in a tie for second in the country right now in terms of blue chips, which would be a 5-star or 4-star. I remember in the old days, Jack Harston used to write the red chip, blue chip, and all he did was he would call the 3 recruiting coordinators, and if 2 of them said it, he was a blue chip. If all 3 said it, he was a red. He's a blue chip. If all 3 said it, if 2 said it, he was a red chip, and if only 1 said it, he was a white chip or whatever. And so if they knew Florida was getting a guy, nobody would ever say anything about it. So anyway. It's not that unscientific. It was unscientific then, and it's not that unscientific now, but it's still doesn't decide anything, as we all know. But the key right now is for Florida to finish strong. And that includes the guys they've already got committed. We know that they're guys like Hiller are 100% in, but you got to close on this. You don't stop recruiting just because you've got a guy to commit. And not only that, but if they can pick up a couple more and just have, it's going to be a good class. Can it be a great class? It can be still. I don't know that they're going to get some of these guys. There's some of these kids are playing games with it all, and it's like Kennedy Jackson. Okay, well, that's fine. End up being where you want to be and have fun. I don't hold it against anybody who changes their commitment. I mean, it's the way of the world, and the money may get better. But it's just important, I think, for Florida to be relevant in those terms. And if you see Florida come in with like a top 5 class, let's say the 5th best class, there's still going to be probably 3 SEC teams ahead of A&M, Oklahoma, Texas, probably all still ahead of them. But they're in the mix, and they're getting those kind of players. And then how you develop them, and do you keep them? Do they get stuck in the portal? I think it's really important, and we'll talk to Coach about this, but I think it's really important to get guys that want to be here. And that was the motto, and we heard it from Tammy Reese on Thursday's show. The same kind of take that Todd Golden has had, which is, I want guys who want to be Gators. And now that's easy to say. We all want to be Gators. Everybody wants to be Gators, but you want guys who understand what you're getting into here. There's a great fan expectation. They're great fans. We can get you really good money, maybe not quite as much as everybody else, but close enough. You'll be fine. You'll be adored, all that. I mean, this is what you have to understand. You've got to want to be it. And if you don't want to be it, don't come. And I think everybody's taken that philosophy. So we'll see how it all works out. Let's get to number 3 on our Money Medal starting 5, and that is what baseball has been able to do, because they continue to poach, I guess you would say, Oklahoma recruits. Now, obviously, when they hired Todd Butler to come here from Oklahoma, you went, whoa, that's leaving the national champs. That's a pretty good deal. They gave him a lot of money. And But it's almost like the new thing. Go get a coach and know that he's going to be able to bring players. Now, usually it's a head coach that brings the players, but in this case, in both the case of the pitching coach from Oregon State and the assistant coach they got from Oklahoma, these guys have brought 2 players each that look like they're going to be big-time players, including Braylon Montgomery, who's a big-time recruit for Oklahoma, and Florida was able to swoop in and get him, Drew Dickerson being the other one. Florida's now got 14 recruits, and 9 from the portal, so that's 23 guys. They're getting to and plus, look, they've got this great core. Now, most of the great core is pitching. They've got some everyday at-bats, but they had to go. It's almost a rebuilding process. Maybe not so much with the pitching. There's some rebuilding to do there, obviously, because that's why you lost. That's why your season ended, because you didn't pitch. But this team, I think, is going to be a totally different look to it, and I can't wait to see it, to be honest with you. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's get to number 4 on our Money Medal starting 5, and that is the latest with Billy Donovan. And, of course, we told you that we thought he might sit out, and Brian Donovan said it's 50-50 what he's going to do, and he probably knew about this deal with San Antonio. I think once their assistant went to the Magic, you kind of thought about that. But I didn't know if Billy wanted to be an assistant again. But I think what more than anything, and this is just my take on it, and nothing I know. I haven't talked to Billy since all this came up. But my take on it would be Billy just wants to win again. He wants to be around winners. I mean, he played in the NBA Finals. Or coached in the NBA Finals, had a 3-1 lead. That's going to stay with him forever. He won 2 national championships at Florida, went to 2 other Final Four. He loves to win. And he's been around rebuilding situations. He left Oklahoma City because they wanted to rebuild. They did a good job with it. Left Chicago because he just didn't want to deal with it anymore, the front office. And he was I thought he was going to come back to Gainesville and just hang out here and play a lot of golf and work on some other things. But he's going to San Antonio as their number 1 assistant, so good for him. He'll be around one of the best teams in the NBA. He'll be around Victor Wembanyama. He's going to win a lot of games as an assistant coach, and I think he's okay with that. And I do think, this is just my take again, I do think the window's closed for him on the NBA, on college. I think mentally, I think Billy has been an NBA guy once he started coaching in the NBA. And I think that when the college stuff started to come open, he thought about it. And then, because, don't forget, North Carolina and Michigan both coming open in the same year. That's about as good as you can get. But I think he just thought about it and went, I liked it better in the NBA. And that's why he left. A lot of the reason he left is all you have to do is coach. That's all you have to do. You don't have to worry about anything else. And now it's even worse in college. But anyway, so that I got to now become a San Antonio fan. I've been kind of a closet San Antonio guy for a while, But now what if LeBron goes to Golden State? I'm a Golden State guy. And I don't like LeBron. So what am I going to do? We'll let you know where my affiliation's going to be going forward. All right, I may wear a jersey in here one day. All right, let us get to number 5 on our Money Medal starting 5. And, of course, we do this every Monday, and that is Steve and Christine Wendig present the Olympic Gators of the weekend, or Gator singular. And in this case, of course, Steve and Christine Wendig from Boss Hart Realty. We appreciate them so much for being part of this show and have been here for a long time, a couple of years now. It's our Olympic athlete of the weekend is Carla Eccles-Thompson. You may know her as Carla Eccles. And, of course, really good player at Florida. Was a volunteer assistant. I think he was a student assistant here a couple of years ago. And now she's been hired as a director of player development for UF. So congratulations to her. What a good job that is. She'll be able to work with and pave her way to a head coaching job. Believe me, it'll be there for her because they're going to win. And, and she knows how to develop players, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch her out there. But she is our Steve and Christine Wendig from Boss Heart Realty present the Olympic Gator of the weekend. All right, we got a lot to get to. One thing we have to get to, we always love to get to, and that is the HBC coming in for his weekly visit on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Give me 60 seconds and I'll show you why you should be buying silver and how to get started. Recent price spikes in groceries, healthcare, gasoline, steel, and lumber tell the story of inflation, as do raging bull markets in equities and housing. As the reality of all this inflation sinks in, investors will be acting quickly to diversify and protect themselves, their families, and their assets. That's why we're offering our Silver Starter Kit to help you get started in holding tangible wealth. This mix of our most recommended forms of silver includes 9 silver coins, totaling 4 troy ounces of fine silver. These pure silver coins have a low bid-ask spread, the difference between the price you pay to buy and the price you receive to sell. Low transaction costs are one reason Investopedia calls Money Metals the best dealer in America. Don't waste any more time. Start protecting your savings today with physical precious metals at moneymetals.com/go.
I got thinking the other day, some of us gained a few pounds during the Spurrier years, and then maybe a few more during Urban. And depending on how stressful certain coaching changes were, well, let's just say the scale kept moving in the wrong direction. The truth is, losing weight gets harder as we get older. Not because you suddenly get lazy, biology changes. That's why I like our guys at BMI TeleMed. They're a Florida-based medical weight management telehealth practice that helps people lose weight with personalized treatment plans, including GLP-1 therapies. But what I like is they're not just about losing weight fast and wishing you luck. They focus on helping you keep it off too. Free consultation, easy process, real clinicians. Check them out at bmitelemed.com, because if your metabolism left town around the time Urban did, you're probably not alone. That's bmitelemed.com. Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And of course, Meldon Law also sponsors Meldon Mondays, and we talked to Coach Spurrier. Always great to talk to him, and we'll talk to him about a lot of things. I want to get to one thing about the team of the decade, but I'm sure you've watched a lot of the World Cup and everything, and I know that you guys are staying open or opening early if the U.S. does advance past Monday.
Yeah, I think we're going to open up, like 1:30, 2 o'clock, something like that. The days that we play next week. Hopefully we win tonight, and then that'll come next week and so forth. But that soccer is popular. Every stadium is jam-packed, and they go crazy in there. So it's.
But that's the thing. This is the Super Bowl of soccer, and so if we had multiple Super Bowls, there'd probably be a lot of people in there. But I mean, look, it is an interesting sport. I've watched a ton of it, way more than I thought I would. And I don't know, this whole thing with Balogun, the player that was red carded and he's out, and then the president calls and he suggests that you review it.
Yeah, most everyone said that was not a violent foul, and he should not be kicked out of the next game. And they questioned that referee. Supposedly he's got a past of making some calls that weren't supposed to call. So I don't know what'll happen, but he's scheduled to play tonight. That's for sure.
Well, I heard Belgium's lawyering up too, though.
Yeah, they're gonna say you can't change your mind, man. You already made the call.
Yeah.
But obviously you could make your call. But anyway, it's almost talking season.
It is.
Where you go to.
They're using that.
Atlanta. They're using my term.
On the SEC network.
I came up with that about 15 or 20 years ago.
You should have patented it. You could have made some money.
Well, I could have done the same thing with the swamp. I started calling our field the swamp, but that's okay. But anyway, I did read something. This guy was saying, how important is recruiting nowadays? Okay, here's what Indiana did the last 5 years in recruiting. Here's where they're ranked. 56, 28, 76, 65, 52. Now, transfer portal, they might be in the top 5.
Yeah.
So those recruiting rankings don't mean near as much as they used to, although I think they're important here because Coach Summerall encourages the guys to come here for 4 or 5 years and make Florida your school, and hopefully it'll work out for most of those guys.
Well, I think there is a mix here. Now, this is something obviously when you were coaching, you didn't have to deal with. I mean, you'd get an occasional transfer, but there was no portal. There was no, people could transfer right away and not have to sit out. But back then, you had to recruit. That's the only way you built a team. Now it's kind of a mix. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very important back then, and that's why Alabama, they had the number 1 class in the nation, 14 of Saban's 18 years there. So they did have the best players in the country, and nowadays with the transfer portal, it's hard to keep them. They're not going to stay and be backups. So maybe you can get a bunch of starters and pay them a bunch, and they'll stay 2 or 3 years.
Well, that's the thing. When I look at who the top classes are, I think A&M's got the number 1 class right now. I'm like, well, yeah, now you do, and if they all come, okay, but in a year, half of them could be gone.
That's right. They don't sign until next, February?
Yeah.
Is that when
No,
it's
December now. They moved it
up.
up.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
During the playoffs.
But even that, you've still got a long way to go till you get to the.
That's right.
To December. But it is interesting to see what's going on with recruiting and portal and everything like that. I don't know if you saw this, Coach, but I did. And I talked about it. I wrote about it a little bit in my column for Patreon, but Chip Patterson from CBS Sports listed the teams by the decade all through history, okay? And the 2000s would be 2000 to 2009 was Florida, because you started with the first SEC championship, or the last SEC championship you had, and then the 01 team was as good a team as any.
It really was.
And then obviously what Urban did. So, and I said, well, what about the 90s? And I went, oh, it's hard to argue against FSU and Nebraska. Those two, they were. I mean, you guys were awesome, but they were pretty good.
Yeah, going back to this weekend, I was flipping around, and I always go through the SEC network, and they had special on the 90s. And all the teams that were successful, and obviously we got a lot of play. But anyway, it got to the Miami game in the Sugar Bowl. We'd won the SEC in 2000, and our players went down to Bourbon Street, and Miami guys got a little shoving and pushing contest. Nobody got hurt, nobody got arrested, but you know how the Miami guys were sort of mouthy back in those days. They're not anymore. Cristobal, they play good sportsmanship now. But anyway, so there was a lot of mouthing. They asked me about it, and the media did. And I said, well, I heard about it. I wasn't there. Nobody got seriously hurt. Let's talk about the ball game instead of shoving and fighting on Bourbon Street. And they asked Butch Davis about it, and you know what he said? He said the Gator players started it, and our guys weren't going to back down. That was his comment. He wasn't there either. So anyway.
Well, that's what his players did.
Anyway, we had a close game. And they called Gerard Warren on a 3rd and 8. He grabbed Dorsey's shirt sleeve, and they sort of both fell down after he'd thrown incomplete. And they called roughing the passer. And I remember asking the head ref, I said, he grabbed his shirt sleeve and pulled on it, and you called roughing the passer? He said he should have let go. He should have let go. Oh, okay, next time I'll tell him let go.
They don't even call that in soccer. You grab the guy's
but anyway, so they got a free first down. Then they threw that pass. Our linebacker went his arm like that and went right underneath it, and their guy caught it for a touchdown that really beat us.
Yeah.
And then they asked Shockey. They asked Shockey about, they're interviewing all them. And he said, well, like Coach Spurrier said, we got our ass kicked off the field, and then we got our ass kicked on the field. Well, I didn't say that. That's just a freaking lie. And when people lie, I wish people would tell them, that's a lie.
Yeah.
That's a bullcrap lie. But we say, those facts aren't exactly right. They gave us all that kind of stuff. But Shockey was just mouthing off and lying about something that I certainly didn't say. And I said, if I ever have a chance to, I got my little microphone right here, I'll let people know I'm not that stupid to say we got our ass kicked, because we didn't. It was a close game that just didn't go our way at the end there.
Well, you know what's interesting about that is there were I can tell you who the media members are, but I don't want to embarrass them. But they literally followed your players and the Miami players the whole night to see if there was going to be something going on because they wanted to be able to report it. It was kind of gotcha journalism back then, but hey, it was what it was,
That's right.
It had nothing to do with who won the game at the end of the day. And that play did, but I mean, just getting into a little.
Well, what was really wonderful about that weekend, the next night, Oklahoma played Florida State. If FSU wins, they would have won the one of the polls, and then Miami would have won the other one. It had the UPI, and then we had the AP, AP and UPI, and so Oklahoma beat FSU 13-2. By the way, same score as Oklahoma beat North Carolina in baseball this year. They're talking about that 13-2, and anyway. So that knocked out both Miami and FSU, and we were back home, and man, all Gators were celebrating that night. We didn't have to listen to those two schools brag about being national champ.
Two of them were still in New Orleans because Robbie and I couldn't get a flight out.
Oh, you couldn't?
And so we stayed out by the airport, and we went down to the bar there, the restaurant bar. They had like a Champs or something. And we were there the whole game, so I don't know what our tab was because we kept getting appetizers and everything, but we watched the whole game, and we were pretty happy.
Everybody was rooting for Oklahoma in Florida except the Seminoles and Hurricanes.
That was when people started saying maybe Mark Richt shouldn't have taken the Georgia job. He should have stayed with and kept track of what was going on. They scored 2 points, as offensive coordinator. So I know people got upset about that, but. Yeah, but that was a great team, that 2000 team. Although the 2001 team was better.
2001 team was much better. We never had a close game except the two we lost.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works that way. I always tell people, they have that final poll at the end of the year when everybody's finished playing, and three of our teams were ranked 2, 3, and 4. I'm sorry, 3, 4, and 5 in the nation. 98 in the 01 team, and one on the 97, 98 and 01 teams. But they don't talk about finishing in the top 5 in the nation. They talk about if you won the conference or not, or the national. So anyway, proud of those teams that finished in the top 5 in the nation, and they don't get a lot of fanfare. But I talk about them every chance I get.
Well, it would have been something to see what that 2001 team could have done if you had a 12-team playoff right now. Because I'd be surprised if you guys didn't win the whole thing. Now, I don't even know if you'd have played the Tennessee game after it got moved back because everybody would have just been going, let's just get to the playoffs, back. And again, you can look back and say that, but you'd have been in the playoffs every year, and I think 3 of Dan Mullen's teams would have been in the playoffs if they had made it 12. But it's when you play, right?
Yeah, it is. And but then I have to look back on some of those years we won the SEC. Oh gosh, Dorian doesn't get the touchdown at Kentucky.
Right.
If Danny Werfel had an interception where the receiver ran the wrong route and he tackled a guy on about the 5-yard line. They had to kick field goal. That 4 points right there was the difference in winning the SEC back in '94. So a lot of good things have happened for us. I can't sit here and complain that, if this, that, or the other. We had our share of good fortune also.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. You probably are pretty happy you didn't have to deal with the portal and NIL and all that. That you got out before that came to fruition. But I saw a pretty cool thing with Dabo and Steven Garcia the other day that apparently he was talking about him, and he's trying to help out with his whole situation, as you did, of course.
Yeah, Steven had a what type of cancer? Prostate was it? I think it was. That hopefully they're working on it. Hopefully can find some kind of cure to help him live a lot longer.
Very curable. I'm speaking from experience because I went through it myself, so it's very curable. So hopefully that works out. Any golf this weekend for you watching? Watching any of Chris Gator?
No, I was at Crescent Beach. We go there every July the 4th, bring all of our family, which is extended quite a bit. So my grandson Gavin Spurrier is the quarterback coach at Austin P. So I got a new team cheer for this year.
Austin
The
P, the Governors. Yeah.
Clarksville, Tennessee. Yeah.
So you've got them, and you've got, I guess, the Dallas team where Scotty is. Is that where he is?
Yeah, the Renegades.
Renegades?
Yeah. Yeah,
You got the Gators.
Yeah,
and South Carolina.
South Carolina
Duke?
a little bit, Duke a little bit, certainly. Yeah.
What if Duke plays South Carolina? Who would you root for?
That would be a toss-up. I'd have to flip a coin.
That'd be a
Team
pick 'em
that played
game.
the best, that's who I'd pull for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, that's the thing. We're sitting here. I was thinking about this because we were talking about the 2000 decade of the 2000s, and of course Ron Zook was part of that. And I'm like, I tell people this all the time. Ron Zook, you would love to have a Ron Zook year right now, an 8-4 or something like that. If Florida goes 8-4 this year, Summerall might be coach of the year, but Ron Zook was vilified because he was coming in after you, where you were winning 11 games every year.
But I was also hearing on the radio that Texas is the team everybody's picking now. And one reason they hired Muschamp, and I like Coach Muschamp. Even though he got fired here and at South Carolina, he sort of followed my steps.
He did.
He got a lot more buyout money than I did, but
well, you never had to get bought out.
No, I didn't believe in it. But anyway, they're thrilled that he's the D coordinator, and they think they're going to clobber everybody. And I think NIL money wise, they're the tops. I heard $48 million or something. So.
So
it's
they
going to be
better
interesting.
win.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Their boosters are telling them that too. You better win now.
Well, they should, but on the other side, the Yankees, I think they spend more than everybody.
Exactly.
And the Dodgers,
and the Mets,
Dodgers are probably next, but the Dodgers, they seem to earn their big pay guys. But the Yankees haven't done much in a while, that's for sure.
Well, there's no question that all we're hearing about in this, and again, we'll hear about it in a couple of weeks when we have talking season when the SEC Media Day starts, because actually Media Days start this week. Starts tomorrow with Big 12 is tomorrow. But we're going to hear that everybody's going to pick Texas and Georgia in that championship game, and they'll be 1 and 2 and by everybody. And somebody will say, "No, I'm going to pick this team." But I think it's way more open than that, just because. I saw Florida beat Texas last year, so anything's possible.
That is so true. And Oklahoma comes here for the first time ever.
Yep.
So that's going to be a big one too. Well, heck, all of them are going to be pretty big games, except that first one we got against Campbell University.
That's the second one, yeah.
That's the second one. I'm sorry.
Florida Atlantic first.
Atlantic first.
Yeah.
And then Campbell. What's their
Camels.
name?
The Camels.
Are they the
They're
Camels?
the fighting Camels, yeah.
That's a good trivia question.
I'm good on nicknames, yeah.
Gators versus the Camels.
The Camels. I don't know that the Camels have ever come here.
Yeah, no.
But that's not going to be a fun day to be there. But, hey, look, you only have so many home games. That's only so many opportunities to tailgate. And we only have so many opportunities to show you our play of the weekend. So we're going to do that right now. And this was, of course, is brought to you by Campus USA, where Coach and I both bank. This is a pretty good play right here, Coach. Steps on third, going for the ball, which he shouldn't even get the ball. That was
a heck of a play.
Yeah, and that's, of course, Casey Schmidt from the Giants. This was against Colorado. I had to look it up to see who they were playing, because you can see it's cut off on the screen. And not only that, but what uniforms is Colorado wearing? They're like, I don't know what that is, but I guess it's their fun uniforms. But that is a heck of a play right there.
That is a heck of a play.
Yeah. So that is our Campus USA play of the weekend, and a good one it was.
Baseball. Yeah, they don't accuse baseball of running up the score.
No, they don't. No.
Oklahoma, they should feel bad beating UNC 13-2.
That's right.
But it is interesting. In fact, on the replays, they had Ray Goff talking about us scoring that last touchdown up there. We had our backups in the game. Eric Kressler hit Travis McGriff. for us to score 52. And then, you know what's neat about it? They're still talking about it.
I know.
We're certainly glad we did it. They wouldn't have anything to talk about.
I know, exactly.
So
you know,
anyway.
Robbie's claim to fame is he was actually on the field for that play because we're just watching the game, and of course the crowd's all gone and everything, and he goes, "Look, I can walk on, get 1 foot on the field during this play."
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for him. That's what I remember about that play. And I remember Chris Doran catching 3 TDs on one drive.
One possession.
Yeah.
One possession. 2 of them were called back, and then finally the third one was a TD.
I was surprised there was anybody around to throw that spit towards you at that game. And Doc Lucky got in the way of it?
Doc Lucky called it. Yeah, I was walking out off the field, and the stands were up there, and some Georgia dude had a cup. I didn't know what it was, but I saw him because I look around when I'm leaving the enemy ballpark. So I got about 5 yards and put a little sprint on, and Doc didn't know, hit Doc on the hand. I don't know if it's tobacco juice or what he had in there.
I think he said it was, yeah.
Waters, I don't know what it was. But Doc, I got to teach Doc to look up in the stands when you go to Georgia anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just saw Doc recently at when Florida played for the national title in basketball. He was at the Gators dockside, and we saw him, talk to him there. All right, Coach, is that it?
That's about it for this week.
Yeah, pretty good
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, this is sort of a slow week in July, but the World Cup, I guess, is taking the news all over the world.
It is kind of a good bridge to media days, the way I'm looking
really
at it.
is.
Yeah,
Good bridge.
kind of like the Olympics were last year.
Yeah.
Weren't they last year? Yeah, they were last year. All right, that's going to do it for Coach's segment. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Zach Albaverdi's going to join us today. Robbie's out of town, and we look forward to that here on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging and coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't. Our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Because Robbie is in West Virginia having a great time. Every time he sends me a picture, the beer has gotten bigger. I don't know how you can get beers that big. But instead, we brought on our good friend Zach Albaverdi from On3, and he is going to talk about a bunch of things today. Zach, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Enjoying July right now.
I heard you had a Chris leak in your garage, so.
Yeah, not the kind of leak that Florida fans like.
Those things happen, man. Being a homeowner, it can be rough.
Although, speaking of leak, I saw Meyer share some highlights this week from Leak's game that they had against Florida State in 2005. That was pretty cool to see him sharing some old throwback highlights.
Yeah, you know, it's fun because this time of year, that's all we've got. All we've got are things to talk about. And you did a great job, and I wanted to applaud you on it with your 10 best lists of all time. You did the 10 best throws, 10 best catches, 10 best runs. Really fun, and 10 best interceptions. And
hits coming up next.
You did the smart thing. You called the new historian now that Norm's gone. You called the new historian to get my take on it. So
Well, and it is like, because I got to thinking, Pat. We had a thread on our message board, and people were talking about the greatest passes in school history, and then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, what were the greatest runs? I said, well, then what were the greatest defensive plays and special teams plays? And like you said, we've got the time here. There's no press conferences or games going on, so I got some ability to do some research. And from wanting to figure out what the top passes were in school history, that turned into a 6-part series of me trying to do the top 60 plays from the last 6 decades. It's ended up being more research than probably I intended, but I'm having fun doing it because now I know when people ask me or when we talk about it, what I feel like were the greatest plays. And it's been fun. I mean, shout out to YouTube, man. You can go on YouTube and watch
That's
games from
amazing.
the 60s and 70s and 80s. And it's been fun to go back down memory lane.
Yeah, there were a lot that, in fact, I hadn't seen the Darren Hambrick play in so long that because I was there for that one, and I just remember it, just sitting there going, oh my God, this is the most incredible play I've ever seen.
It might be the
Georgia.
best return in school history.
Oh, I think it is, yeah. There was one by Kwesi, a punt return that was up there against Kentucky.
Well, I mean, interception return.
Yeah, for interception return, yeah. I think that one, yeah. I mentioned the Lido one to you, and I'm glad you used that one because that's one that he did a little hopping and skipping to get around those guys.
Yeah, he showed off his punt return skills on that play. But you know what, Pat? As you know, man, it was very hard to cut down that list to 10, and it ended up being an honorable mention section in every single story. Where I'm trying to make sure that I don't want somebody to read it and go, how did he not include this? But
that's why you do lists, though. It's to have
correct.
People talk about it and argue with you about it. No,
yeah, I mean there are people that were telling me,
two?
And I didn't know this, Pat. You might remember this. Someone was arguing to me, not arguing, but saying they thought Larry Kennedy should be higher up on the list because of what that win meant. Not only because it helped Florida win its first official SEC title, but they said that Tennessee fans the year before had been taunting Florida fans and players over the student murders in Knoxville.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like payback, getting that win in Gainesville in 91. So for some people, that makes that play mean even more to them.
And let me tell you what, there are a lot of people that'll tell you that is the loudest. Now, everybody has their feeling on what the loudest game was, the loudest moments. But that when he ran that interception return back, that it never has been any louder than that. Now, again, that was before they even built that northern end zone. So
I know. And so also, too, when I started doing this list for folks that haven't read it, it's at Gators Online. I'm almost done with it, and then I'm going to put out the top 60 plays. But when I started, I mean, everybody's got their own criteria, right? For me, calling a play the greatest play, pass, run, interception, like there had to be some boxes that you checked, right? It had to be a game-winning play or a game-deciding play. But more than that, it had to be, maybe it was a record-setting play. Maybe it was a career-defining play. Maybe it was a play that helped the Gators win an SEC title or a national title. So if it was a play that did that, I valued it more in the rankings. That being said, I mean, there are probably some plays from the 70s and 80s that, if we're just talking about spectacular plays, that maybe deserved a spot on the list. But if Florida didn't do anything that season, if they didn't, win the championship or even have a winning record, it's hard to call it one of the greatest plays ever. I mean, going back and watching those interceptions, Pat, that Fred Weary pick six that he had in the 96 opener against Southwest Louisiana, I mean, that was one of the best returns I've ever seen. But it was against Southwest Louisiana. Yeah. So, I mean, you can't call that one of the greatest interceptions ever.
I think they had 4 that night, too.
That's right. Yeah, they set a school record.
Yes, they did. That was amazing. And that was Stoopsy's first game, and we're like, is this the way it's going to be every game? I mean, well, that was back when you talked to the coordinator after the games, believe it or not. I know that seems like a far-fetched
well, you'll love to hear this, but I know the plan for John Summerall is to make the coordinators available this season, which will be reverting back to the old.
Yeah, right away. See, I like everything he's doing. I like so far. That's what I want to say. And by the way, happy birthday to John, whose birthday was yesterday, I think, right?
Oh yeah, he turned 44, first birthday as a Gator, celebrating in the Panhandle, which I think is his favorite spot in the world.
It's
My
beautiful
favorite
out there.
beach is Crescent Beach.
Me too, but that's my second favorite. Would be Destin. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Pat. I don't know where you want to go next, but I do have top hits coming out tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
We know the ones: Major Wright, Jarvis Williams, Lawrence Wright. Right now, I'm putting you on the spot. But are there any hits that jump out to you? I'm talking about a hit that put a guy on a stretcher or knocked him out of the game. What are some of the greatest hits in school history that you remember, other than some of the obvious ones that everyone knows?
To me, the one would be Antonio Morrison in Tallahassee.
Well, yeah, E.J. Manuel.
He hit E.J. Manuel so hard, he literally separated him from the ball. He hit him so hard, his body flew back and the ball just stayed right there. I mean, and that turned that game around. I mean, that allowed Florida to. Matt Jones ran, I think, maybe the next play for a touchdown. That was the game, and we all could breathe.
That's right.
That would be one, and obviously some of the ones you mentioned. There were some Tony Lilly ones, but I can't remember one specific. But Tony Lilly, the one he had against would be living the infamy Hall of Fame. Would be the one he had against Southern Cal when the Gators have won the game, but he hits a guy late and they end up kicking a field goal and they score and then they miss the extra point, so it ends up a tie game. So, but that was one of them, but that was a bad one. I'll go with
that's not one of the ones you want.
Yeah. All right, Zach is coming to you on our Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line, and so we are going to get to yes, no way, or maybe with Zach. We always love doing this and with all of our great guests that we have on here. Yes, no way, or maybe. You ready for this, Zach? Now, you can embellish on your answers. You don't have to give a yes, no way, or maybe.
Okay.
All right. And I talked about this earlier, but Florida will finish with a top 5 recruiting class when it's all said and done.
Yes. I feel pretty confident saying that. And, Pat, some people have asked, well, what happens if Florida doesn't have a great season or has one too many losses? Could that cause some recruits to maybe second guess their decisions? I don't necessarily think so, Pat, because these guys right now are committing to nothing with this staff. Yeah. These guys have no track record, and Florida went 4-8 last year. So I feel like a lot of these recruits know what they're walking into. And at the same time, as you know, Pat, NIL drives a lot of these decisions now. So as long as the money's right, they're not necessarily going to bolt, and they kind of already know, again, what they're walking into. So unless, like, Florida goes 4-8 again, I don't necessarily see guys jumping ship. I think they're going to not go 4-8, and I think that they're going to finish strong in the top 5.
Well, and that's the thing, my point I was making. You're recruiting to a 4-8, okay? That's what you're recruiting to. You're recruiting to 5 losing seasons in the last 6 years. That's what you're recruiting to, And that, I mean, I love everything Summerall says, and he's a great soundbite, but he's got to show it on the field before I'm going to get fired up about him as a coach.
Sure.
To be honest with you, I mean, he knows that. I think he understands that. All right, let's get to number 2 on yes, no way, or maybe, and that is you are second guessing yourself for not having Adrian White's interception against Kentucky in your top 10.
Maybe.
You better be.
Now, to be fair, it was so I had a list of 10 honorable mentions, but it was the only one that I included as the bonus play because, as you know, Pat, for many years, I was the greatest pick in school history.
Oh, yeah.
I
remember exactly what Norm Carlson was doing color at the time with that would have been with I guess David Steele. And he said, "Oh, Adrian, if you knew what you just did." That was his comment. It'd stay with me the rest of my life.
One person was glad that I included that play in the video, and I did a description of because look, that won them the title and a lot of people still think that 84 title should be claimed. But it happened on the field. He made the play. The other two that I got a lot of grief for, Pat, was Dwayne Thomas's pick and Brad Stewart's pick. Now, let me say this. Those two picks right there might have created some of the best moments in the Swamp ever. Definitely the Dwayne Thomas one.
I could have picked that off, though.
What's that?
It was right in his gut, yeah.
I mean, and then he just kind of dropped, you know what I mean? At least.
But, hey, look, I've had Dwayne Thomas on the podcast because we'd love to talk about that play.
Now, it made the honorable mentions, and so did Brad Stewart. Now, Brad Stewart's probably the best pick that I've ever covered as a reporter. And shout out to our buddy Edward Ashoff, man. Rest in peace. He was standing right next to me on the sideline when Brad Stewart picked off Joe Burrow for the first time ever in his college career.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think wasn't that his first pick he ever had?
First pick he ever had, you know. But, again, man, like, I ain't leaving Will White or Keywan Ratliff out of the top 10 to put Brad Stewart in there.
This used to be DBU. And that's what it's got to do again. It's got to get back to being DBU, where you have Vernon Hargraves and Keywan Ratliffs and Tico Browns back there instead of
Vernon Hargraves.
Yeah, these guys who can't cover me. You know, if I run a double post, I think I'm getting open.
I think Ben Hanks the third is going to make some Florida fans proud in the future, and his dad too.
Well, he'll make me proud then. All right.
Somebody was like, "Why didn't you put Ben Hanks' interception on the list?" I said, "Guys, it was a fumble recovery."
It was a fumble recovery, yeah. Well, that's like when I did my Q&A. I do a Q&A for the Main Street Daily News, and the one I did this week was Mike Bass, who had the fumble recovery of Garo Yepremi, and now he lives in Gainesville. So I play golf with him all the time. So I said, hey, let's do 4 questions. And one of them, I said, what was the favorite of your 30 interceptions? He goes, well, it was ruled a fumble recovery, but it would have been the one against Garo. I go, well, that doesn't work. It's ruled a fumble recovery. It can't be called an interception, but it kind of was. But anyway.
I'd tell you what, too, going back to that Hambrick game, that's crazy. The Michael Gilmore recovery, the possession before, and then how about Batesy getting 2 interceptions and a pick 6 in that game?
He did, and he looked like a baby fawn trying to run to the end zone. It had just been born, just came out of its mother's womb.
Tony Aguilini told me, he goes, that might have been the shortest pick 6 in the school history.
It might be pretty close. All right, let's get to number 3 on Yes, No, Where, Maybe with Zach Albaverdi from On 3 and Gators Online. All right, number 3, Texas and Georgia will not play for the SEC title. Everybody's going to pick them.
I think you are. I'm going to say yes. I think you're spot on. I think Texas can make it. They better make it, right? I mean, if they don't make it this year, that's Sarkisian's going to start feeling the heat. Georgia, we'll see. I feel like there's another team that could end up there besides the Dogs, and I know Florida fans everywhere would hope for that.
Yeah, when you never know. You never know. I mean, that's the thing. If right now, because you know how people feel about Lane Kiffin, right? Right now, let's just say Georgia and LSU are playing to open the season. Who are Florida fans rooting for?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who I'd root for. Yeah. I got to be honest with you.
I mean, yeah, Lane Kiffin has become pretty hated already. He's gone from one of the most hated ever to then one of the most wanted, and now they hate him again.
That's right. That's right. We got to have Kiffin. I hate Lane Kiffin. We dodged a bullet.
I'm so glad he didn't come.
Yes.
This would have been terrible.
Who do we got? A guy from the Sun Belt again? Okay. Well, let's see how this goes.
I will say, I don't know how a Vanity Fair shoot would have went in the Swamp.
That's a good point. Zach, thanks for filling in, man. It's always great talking to you, buddy. And keep knocking it out with the radio. I know you guys are taking July off, right?
I got the next 2 weeks off, man.
Wow, enjoy it. Enjoy it.
And then next week I'm off from On 3 too. So this is it's a glorious time to be a sports reporter.
But you still took time to come on this show. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me, Pat.
Thanks, Zach. To you, buddy. Okay, thanks again to Zach for coming on short notice. Well, I asked him yesterday. That was pretty good. But let's get to we got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's start off with Mark Gaida presents the 12. It's brought to you by our friend Mark Gaida at Pepin Realty. We love having him on, and we do a lot of fun things here, and we'll continue doing it all through the summer. Again, we're only taking Monday or Thursday and Monday off, and then we'll be right back at it. And then it's go time because we can smell the Diet Dr. Pepper. That's the only thing they ever serve at the media days. All right, so this was something that Chip Patterson, I mentioned that he did this list, and I thought it was really pretty good. And I didn't disagree with any of them. That's the cool thing about it. But these are the 12, by decade, the 12 teams of the decade. So we go back to the 1920s. I did not cover any of these games. 1920s was Notre Dame. I take his word for it on that. Number 2 is in 1930s was Alabama. 1940s, again, Notre Dame. And that'll be it for Notre Dame. Number 4 is the 1950s, Oklahoma. I think that's when they had that massive win streak going. Around 55 in a row or whatever it was. Number 5, the 60s, Alabama. Obviously, started running that wishbone too. That was really kind of the very late 60s. But they were very good. The 70s was USC, the other wishbone team. Well, they didn't really win the wishbone, but they ran the ball. Number 7 is the 1980s, and that was Miami. Have to accept that. Number 8, and this is what we were talking about. 8 and 9, we were talking about with Coach Spurrier. The 1990s, yes, Nebraska, yes, Florida State. I hate to say it, but it's true. I was thinking the 90s Florida might slip in there, but when FSU not only dominated Florida and dominated everybody else, and they had great records, and of course we know what Nebraska did, multiple national championships, and then you get to the 2000s, and that is Florida, which I'm glad Florida was able to do that. Again, that was a combination of Spurrier and Meyer when things were the best here. And then number 11 is Alabama from the 2010s, and 2020s, Georgia. Sorry. Hate to do it, but they have been the dominant team. 20s aren't over, though. Still got time. So that's our Mark Gaida presents the 12. That's a lot of fun to do those. We appreciate it. Let us move along to our Adams Ribco Gator of the weekend. And it is multiple Gators of the weekend. Adams Ribco, the place to go for all your barbecue needs. And it is the 3 players from Florida who made the USA Collegiate National Team. 28 players made the team, 3 Gators. Nobody else had 3. Florida, all pitchers. That tells you where the core of this team is. It's on the mound, and they've got to find all the pieces to go around it through the portal and through other things. But Jackson Barbieri, obviously Aiden King, and Joshua Wittenauer all made the team. Again, all have great stuff, and it could be exciting next year. I'm looking forward to baseball. Is there a sport where you're not looking forward to right now with Florida? And it's not just because, we're looking forward to, we have nothing going on right now. But it's because of this. I'm looking forward to just see what John Summerall can do. I'm looking forward to see what Tammy Reese can do after having her on the show. She was amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing what Sully has been able to do. I'm looking forward to Tim Walton. I'm seeing this young lady who's sat out the year and seeing how she fits into this team. I'm looking forward to there's no sport that and obviously I'm looking forward to men's basketball where they're going to be the preseason number 1. It's just a list that keeps going on and on. Anyway, it's fun. All right, it is time for our Leonardo's of Millhopper quick pick of the week, and today we are going to make a poll. For $25 at Leonardo's Millhopper, you can go in there and you can get a duels. We got a lot of people in the last, and a lot of you got it right, or got at least one of the two, and many of you got both of them right. But we have a lot of people who did qualify. We have numbers between 19 and 52, not 502, 52. 19 and 52 for you to come up with. Zach, give me your number.
Well, yeah, I know it's close to the front, but in honor of Floron Balogun, let's go with number 20.
Number 20?
Yeah, why not?
That's good. I like it. Number 20 is Tracy Gill. Tracy Gill, I don't know if Tracy Gill's won before. I think he may have won once. But Tracy, you're our winner of $25 at Leonardo's of Millhopper. And again, we appreciate that. And Tracy, if you're not already a subscriber to my Patreon site, we'll send you a free month because Kyle has also donated those. So we appreciate that. All right, let us move along to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Weekend. It is brought to you by BMI TeleMed. Achieve and maintain with your medical weight loss specialist. Give them a call at 727-383-1677. Tell them Pat Dooley sent you. You get a discount with your order. Our Overachiever of the Weekend is Ernie Clement from the Blue Jays. Now, Ernie Clement, this guy's an all-star. Now, Ernie Clement got the most votes in the All-Star game for the American League. I'm not that familiar with Ernie Clement, so I kind of did some research on him. Do you know that he was cut twice, released by two different teams? I think it was Cleveland and Detroit. Both released him, but then he caught on with the Blue Jays and then had that unbelievable postseason last year, and that's why he got the most votes because everybody loves that guy now. He's having another good year. Overwhelming stats, no. Really good second baseman, yes. But Ernie Clement, you are our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Week. Now, he may take that personally that I call him an overachiever, but hey, you get cut twice, you know. I mean, he was drafted in 17. Anyway, I looked all this stuff up. Let's move along to our Learner Law presents the club teams, and let's get to our Learner Law. Of course, that's the place to go if you need to close on a house. Learner Law, we appreciate them. I looked up the Atlanta Hustle schedule today. 2 games left this Saturday and next Saturday. They are playing this Saturday against Austin at home and next Saturday against DC at home. So that'll wrap up the season for them. And your Ultimate Frisbee team will be, if you're in the area, you can go out and see them. Season tickets or tickets are easy to get, and just give them a shot. We appreciate Learner Law for being a sponsor of that. We will move along to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend, brought to you by Gallo Car Wash, the place where we get all of our cars washed here in Gainesville. They do a great job, Gallo Car Wash. Our Sponge of the Week is Yuri Perez. Now, if you don't know what Yuri Perez did yesterday, he faced 21 batters and got them all out. Nobody got a hit, nobody got a walk. He pitched a perfect game for 21 batters, which would be enough. In softball, you'd get a perfect game. He didn't get one. Instead, they pulled him out. They won. Again, I understand it, but I don't know. 21 in a row. They pull him out. They almost lose the game. I think they ended up like 10-8 or 9-8 or something like that.
Yeah. They gave up 5 runs the next
Yes,
game.
that's right. So maybe it wasn't the best idea, but I get it. I mean, you're trying to make sure a guy doesn't throw his arm out, but if you only have to face 21 guys, you'd probably be okay. Anyway, he's our Sponge of the Week because he soaked up all the outs he could get. 21 is all I can get, and that is really cool. All right, let us move along, and I will say this. Last week, and I don't usually make mistakes like this, but occasionally I do. I just forgot to do our this, that, and the other. I had it written down here, and it just got confusing. And the one I had doesn't apply this time, so I'm going to do a new one. And this, that, and the other is coming up right now.
What do you want? This, that, and the other.
Okay, this, that, and the other is brought to you by our good friend Notary Joe's over there. He does a great job. Joseph Newton, 863-990-4884. If you want somebody to come to your house and do your notary work for you, it is brought to you by Dar Shakow Insurance. For all your home, auto, commercial, and life needs, Dar Shakow is the place to go. And it is brought to you by the Atlanta Hustle. They're getting a double plug today, and we appreciate it. They deserve one. That's the last 2 weeks of the season. The Atlanta Hustle. We appreciate Learner Law for being a sponsor of that as well. All right, let us get to our this, that, and the other. This is when Penn State got, and again, Penn State obviously had a fire sale. Everybody had to leave, including James Franklin. But when James Franklin left, and then we get Phil Troutwine out of that, but significant that Tennessee got Jim Knowles, very good defensive coordinator at Penn State, and of course at Ohio State before that. But he's in it for the money, well, like most of us are. So he goes to Tennessee, and you're kind of nervous who they're going to get. Well, they get this edge rusher, Chaz Coleman, and you're like, man, that guy's got a chance to be really good. That's this. That is, it was kind of a strange deal because in the spring he hardly practiced. He only practiced a little bit, and then they were like you would ask people up there, and they were going, I don't know what's going on with him. He's got some problems, and off the field problems, blah blah blah. And the other is that Tennessee has finally left him off the roster. He's done. Whether he'll end up somewhere or not, I hope he gets better with his situation. Some people say he's got vertigo. Some people say it has to do with the CTE issues. Some people say it's just his family pushes him too hard, and they made him take the Tennessee offer. He has homesickness. I'm not going to worry about what everybody's saying. Hopefully this kid gets better. But he had a $2 million, and for an edge rusher, that's a pretty good deal. It's in quarterback money. But $2 million deal with Tennessee, and they're not going to have to pay it all. I'm sure they'll pay some of it, but they won't have to pay it all. But that is our this, that, and the other for today. All right, we appreciate that. And sorry about that, guys, but I wanted to make sure we got you in today. So let's get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Hesser and Kipke, with over 50 years of combined legal experience in North and Central Florida, Hesser and Kipke is your place for bankruptcy, workers' compensation, and family law. Call or text Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke. Okay, number one on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, Chris Gator. Man, I tell you what, this guy, he looks like he should be working like in the mailroom or something, but he has been playing unbelievable golf. He's won 5 tournaments in less than 2 seasons these last 2 years on tour, including yesterday. Shot a 62 to win. That's golfing your ball, man. And I tell you, I'm becoming kind of a Chris Goddard fan because he does look like me, kind of a slobby-looking guy with he likes to keep his shirt unbuttoned on the front. I'm not that fan. But congratulations to him, his 3rd win this year. Number 2 on Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Remember when Summer McIntosh was in the Olympics last year and we were all freaking out because her mom swam at Florida and we were thinking, God, if she comes to Florida, that'll be unbelievable. Well, she didn't. She decided, I'm just going to stay pro. And so she's in Austin, though. She's swimming at the University of Austin, but not for the University of Austin. Texas is what I'm saying. Anyway, but yesterday, as a pro, she broke a record that was set in 2009 for the 200 butterfly, winning that event easily and celebrating like crazy. And that's really cool. I wish she'd come here, Summer, but we'd have loved to have had you. Anyway. And finally, number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, I did want to mention the Norway win because it also made me laugh when I saw Norway. Now, first of all, the guy who scored the 2 goals looks kind of like the bad guy in Die Hard. He was a dancer, right? Yeah, with the white hair and everything. He looks kind of like him. But anyway, the guy's unbelievable, and that was fun to watch. But there was a good meme that several people put out there that Norway now has one more playoff win in MetLife Stadium than the Jets. That's not a good look for the Jets. But it made me laugh. All right. That is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Thanks so much to Ken and Jen, who I know have been to Red Rocks, and I'll probably ask them some advice before we leave. All right, let us get to our games of the week. Wrapping things up here, Swamp Restaurant brings you the games of the week, a place to go to watch all these games we're going to give you and more. There's so much to do there. Great drink and food specials. Today's the Gator takeover on the SEC network. If you're listening to this in time, I think the basketball game against Alabama is like 5:30, but I know it's a Monday show. But that is today. Also, the game tonight, U.S. versus Belgium, 8 o'clock on Fox. We'll all be waving our American flags, even though we may not agree with how it got there. But we'll be rooting for the Americans. We know that. All right, Tuesday baseball, Yankees at Rays, TBS, 6:40. I'm all into that. And then they play again Wednesday at 6:40 on Prime if you want to watch the Yankees at the Rays, actually for first place by the time that series is over. Arizona at San Diego on Wednesday on ESPN at 10 o'clock. And the other soccer games Tuesday, it is Egypt against Argentina at noon on Fox in Atlanta, and then you have Colombia against, they're playing somebody at 4 on Fox. Sweden on Fox. And then Thursday you have France, Morocco at 4 o'clock on Fox. There is no Wednesday game, which I guess just teams need the time off. And WNBA, Tuesday, Dallas at New York, 8 o'clock on ESPN. There it is. Got it all done. I made it by 1 minute. I made our deadline by 1 minute. I'll be back in a week. Until then, next Thursday, I am Pat Dooley saying I am deep, I am way back, and I am out of here.